my name is Barry Sterling Mitchell. I produce the Sterling Net Point Power Rankings and the Bias Plus reports. Today is January 7th, 2026, and this is Ben and Barry on football.
Hello out there, everybody. This is your co-host, Ben Dickerson. Before we get started, I have two items I'd like to touch on, if I may. We spoke a little earlier, or at least you and I spoke earlier, about the college semifinals coming up this weekend. Those games will be played on Thursday and Friday. I can't remember which is which, but I know we got some two really great matchups. The number one ranked Indiana Hoosiers, a basketball school, all of a sudden is number one ranked in football. They're playing Oregon. And the University of Miami, the U, back to the glory days, is playing Ole Miss. I got to tell you, after watching Indiana take Alabama apart last week, I mean, taking them apart like it was nothing. I put on my Facebook page, look like men against boys out there. This is going to be a much tougher game against Oregon, but I like Indiana in that one. And Miami versus Ole Miss, oh, I can't miss this one now. Two things with Miami. Number one, the defense is super strong. Number two, their quarterback is probably going to be a first rounder. I'm not going to say how high he's going to go. I don't know. I haven't done my draft analysis yet for our draft show that comes in the offseason, but I'm pretty sure he's going to be a first round pick. But Ole Miss, Trinidad Chambliss is exciting, man. And he came out of nowhere. What didn't he go to like junior college or something?
He did have a route.
Yeah, if you get a chance, look this kid up. His story is very, very interesting. But he was super impressive last week, and I'm rooting for him. I can't help it. I got to root for Ole Miss.
You know, it is interesting that the way things are working out with college and compared to as it works out in the pros, and it looks very similar. I mean, the way, the whole they beat them, they go to beat them. I mean, it's not as
Yeah,
weird
it's
as
a
it used to
tournament,
be.
basically.
Yeah, and it's not as weird as it used to be, where it's like somebody got ranked because somebody said they were, you know,
Right, right.
there. You know what I mean? So I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it, and like you said, Chambly is. It's kind of almost like watching what's the name from the Bears quarterback, when he was in college,
Oh, okay.
Um and
I was kind of thinking more like Jaden
Caleb.
Daniels.
Are you like more like Jaden Daniels and Caleb Williams?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, maybe so, maybe so. And then uh in- Indiana Mendoza, when they asked Mendoza a question, oh my God. The just his whole framing of everything, the way he it's like, okay, I'm not gonna ask you any more questions.
Yeah, right. He's a nerd and he's really
But I mean, he says all the right things.
oh yeah,
He
yeah.
says all the right things. What can you say? I mean,
He never met a microphone or a camera he didn't like.
well, anyway, yeah, that's pretty good. So that's our college game. How'd you do last week with your picks?
9 out of 16. I didn't figure that out, but I kind of feel like that's about 60 something percent, 62 maybe.
9 out of 16? That's pretty
Yeah, that's all.
good. Let's see. 56%,
Ah, I
which
like
is
to stay in the
exactly what I
60s. Really. And I always go back and look at my losses and try to see where I think I made a really bad mistake. I believe even on some of the losses, some of the picks I made seemed like solid picks at the time, and things just didn't go the way I thought they would. And again, week 18, you never know what you're going to get for real, for real. Sometimes you do. Sometimes teams will announce, oh, we're not playing no starters. Sometimes teams will announce that we're playing everybody. I didn't get into it that deeply, so I'm not that upset about week 18 and making mistakes. So actually, I think I did fairly well. Um, but yeah, when we go through the Bias Plus reports, you'll hear me talk about teams that decided they were going to rest players, teams that decided they were going to play everybody, even a team that started the starters and then pulled them out at halftime. So you got a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of, you know what I mean? All kinds of differences. The other thing I wanted to talk about was Bloody Monday. The infamous Bloody Monday, the Monday after the last regular season game, seems to be when head coaches get fired. And that's exactly what happened. And we had one on Tuesday, which was yesterday. But anyway, this past Monday, Pete Carroll got fired from the Raiders. Jonathan Gannon got fired from the Cardinals. Kevin Stefanski got fired from the Cleveland Browns. And Raheem Morris got fired from the Atlanta Falcons. And then on Tuesday, which caught everybody by surprise, although I did notice some Baltimore fans were calling for his head, John Harbaugh got fired. Now, I thought his situation in Baltimore was kind of the same as Tomlin in Pittsburgh. Like they would never fire him. They might come to a parting of the ways, a mutual parting of ways, but they would never fire him. But yeah, they pulled the trigger. And then, and I think you mentioned this, we found out some things about what was going on there in that organization as far as Harbaugh and his loyalty to his offensive coordinator. But that's another whole story. So now it kind of makes sense though, you know. So it's going to be interesting to see who goes where and how fast they go. But I got a funny feeling all these guys, except maybe Pete Carroll, will all find jobs again real quick.
Yeah, it is interesting how guys get fired and then they find jobs again real quick, you know. Some guys do. Our man Eric Bieniemy didn't.
Yeah, right. Well, that's another theme that you might pick up on if we actually went into it. But you
Right,
know,
exactly, exactly,
well,
exactly.
I'll just say this: let's see what happens with Raheem Morris
Okay, okay, okay. He was looking kind of good there. Right, well, he was
coming
giving it
down the
out.
stretch. The problem is, why did they bear down at the end all of a sudden? And they played pretty crappy in the beginning of the season into about
Hmm.
mid-season.
Hmm.
Not to mention he got kind of dealt a funny hand when he had to start a rookie. Then the rookie gets hurt before he actually 100% proves himself. Then they have to go to the backup who actually started, who they brought in and made him think he was going to be the starter. Then they drafted the rookie. You know what I mean? That's a wacky, you know. Now you got a guy that don't even really want to be on the team.
Yeah, yeah,
Now all of a sudden he's the starter again. So I mean, that's a crazy situation, and none of that was of Morris's doing. You know, so
yeah,
we'll
yeah.
see.
Sometimes it's those cards that are being dealt to you, and yeah, it's really funny. Um, the different decisions that are being made. I remember what game was it I was watching? It was raining cats and dogs, and they kept throwing the ball. And I'm like, you do not have a run game, do you? It's just because as much as hard as it's raining, you would think that that would be the time when that run game would be supreme. But we talked about run games and the lack of such last week.
Yeah.
Then yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. All right, Benny. So let's look at the first game on the schedule. Bias plus reports. Wild card. Rams at Panthers. Bias plus score of 17. Favors the Rams, Benny. They came in ranked second in net points. Panthers are ranked 23rd. Pretty wide margin there. And they also um, were better in average turnover and differential. So there you go. Rams at Panthers. We talked about the Panthers, whether this could be the time when since they win, loss, and they recently lost, would they win this time? I'm not saying it. What do you got?
Well, let's see. I'm going to go with the visitors first on all of these. So the number 5 seed Los Angeles Rams. Now, last weekend against the Cardinals, all the healthy Rams started and dressed for the game, or dressed and started for the game. Evidently, the Rams felt they should enter the playoffs ready and on a winning note, so they put most of their starters in. And they also had a chance at the 5 seed. So they wanted to go for it. That was the decision that they made. They put most of the starters in, at least all the healthy guys. I think they kind of took the Cardinals lightly. And what ended up happening was they got a really good trial run of what adversity is going to look like when they get in the playoffs and how to play themselves out of it. They fell behind 20-16, and with 3:51 left in the third quarter, they were down. Then at that point in the third quarter, only 3:15 left in the third quarter, going into the fourth quarter, they quickly ran off 3 touchdowns on their last 3 possessions. And then with the Niners losing to Seattle, they did in fact secure the 5 seed. So mission accomplished. Had to work hard for it, but they got it done. Now Carolina is at home because they won their division. The Carolina Tampa Bay game was not only win or go home, but it was also for the 4 seed as the NFC South champions. The Panthers could handle their own business with a win, but they had a Falcons win later in the day in their back pockets in case they lost the game to the Bucks. The Bucks had to win to have a chance. The Bucks handled their business. They did, in fact, win the game, and then both teams shot off to the locker room or to the hotel or wherever they went to find televisions to watch the Falcons Saints game. The Falcons ended up beating the Saints, making the Bucks win meaningless, and making the Carolina Panthers the 4 seed and the NFC South champions. Now, like you said, Panthers have been up and down, win one, lose one, win one, lose one. Could have swore they had a little winning streak somewhere in the middle of the season, maybe 3 games at one point. But anyway, they've been up and down. I don't like the way they made the playoffs. They kind of snuck in. They kind of snuck in. If they had been win or go home, period, and not have anything to do with the Falcons or any other team, I would respect this a little bit more if they had won that game, but they didn't. Tampa Bay actually did win that game. But because of the Falcons situation, Panthers are there. They do have a home game. They're not terrible. I've been singing Bryce Young's praises all season long. I'm going to continue to do it. I love what he's doing there. I love what he's doing with his coach there. But I think the Rams just got too many weapons, man. I think they're going to come in there. They're going to be smoking. Matt Stafford is going to be smoking. Yeah. I got to like the Rams. I don't want to get too crazy about this. I'm going to go with the Rams.
Oh, you're citing there, buddy.
Yeah, I'm certain because the more I talk about things, sometimes I talk myself out of it. But the Rams are the better team. They're going to win that game.
Okay. All right. All right. There you go. There you go. Next up. Next up. Packers at Bears. Bias plus 4.5 favors the Bears, Benny. And you will
Okay.
notice that the Packers are ranked 13th and the Bears are ranked 15th. So this is one of those matchups where the average turnover differential, Packers are 0.1 and the Bears are 1.3. Swung the calculation for the bias plus over to the Bears by a nice margin, 4.5 if you think about it. So Packers at Bears, Bears are home, Bears are favored. Who you got?
Mm. So the Bears are favored, but their numbers aren't high. That's the difference between our rankings and the kind of rankings you're going to see on television. The Bears hold the 2 seed. That's impressive. They're a division winner. They had a good record. But their numbers, as far as our rankings are concerned, are not the best. There's a lot of teams ahead of them. So you can't just say, well, they're the 2 seed, they should be favored. I mean, they are favored, but anyway, let's talk about the Packers first. Packers went into their game with the Vikings, locked into the 7th seed. So they basically had nothing to play for. That being the case, they decided to rest their starters and they ended up losing the game to the Vikings 16-3. Here's the problem. That loss now makes 4 in a row. Not the way you want to go into the playoffs with a 4-game losing streak. But they are playing the Bears, a hated rival. The Bears will be home. And last weekend, the Bears hosted the Lions with the opportunity to grab the 2 seed because it was up in the air with a win, or end up with the 3 seed with a loss and an Eagles win. So it wasn't guaranteed. So you would think that they would start everybody, which they did, but you would also think that they would be ready to rock in that game and really go after it. In fact, what they did was they came out flat at home against a big time rival. Not what you want to see. That big time rival had nothing to play for but a positive note to end a disappointing season on. And they played harder. The Bears end up losing 19-16 on a late field goal after not scoring their first points in the game until the fourth quarter. Not a good showing at all. Not a good showing at all for the Bears in general and for Caleb Williams specifically. Not a good showing. However, they will be home. They show me enough this season. I do not trust the Packers on either side of the ball, although I think their defense may be more talented and stronger than the Bears. I don't believe in their offense or Love. So I'm going to go with the Bears on this one.
Interesting. Interesting. All right. Going with the bias, going with the Bears. All right. So that is Saturday. That wraps up our Saturday slate, Benny. Let's kick off the Sunday slate with the Bills at the Jaguars. Bias plus score 4.1 favors the Jaguars, Benny. Bills came in ranked fifth, net points of plus 6.8. However, the Jaguars said, we're ranked fourth at plus 8.1, and we're better on the turnover differential. So yeah, Jaguars favored over the Bills. Poor Bills can't catch a break, man. They finally get rid of the Chiefs, and now the Jaguars going to start playing like giant killers. So what do you got
Yeah,
on?
everybody was saying this is Josh Allen's big chance. Lamar and Mahomes are not in it. They've been his nemesis over the last couple of seasons. Now they're both gone, and he's still got issues. So they started Mitchell Trubisky at quarterback with some of the regulars starting, but they only played limited minutes. So they didn't really go after it. Um, they did, however, win 35-8 against the Jets, but that's just how bad the Jets are. I mean, that's crazy. Trubisky actually looked good in that game. It's crazy. He didn't Trubisky it up. The Jags' dominant win over the Titans locked down the AFC South title and the number 3 seed, and it was their 8th win in a row. You can't go into the playoffs much more impressively than that. Jags super hot at the right time. I'm going with the Jags on this one. I'm not even going to hesitate. The Bills
Go
ain't
ahead.
ready. The Bills are not ready, and their defense is not good enough.
All right, there you go. There you go.
Playoffs, baby. It's the playoffs. If you don't play defense and run the ball, you're going to be in trouble.
Gonna be in trouble there for sure. Sure.
And you have to do both. You can't do one. Because people are going to say, oh, what about James Cook? What about Josh? Yeah, I got it. Should be a good game, but their defense is not good enough.
And at this point, the Jaguars quarterback probably runs as much as Josh.
Their offense is more well-rounded, and their defense is smoking.
There you go. All right, going with the bias, going with the Jaguars over the Bills. Who would have thunk it? Who would have thunk it? Next up, my beloved 49ers at the Philadelphia Eagles. Bias plus score of 2.5, Benny. Favors the Eagles.
2.5?
Only 2.5, Benny. I mean, the Eagles, look, my Niners are actually ranked higher than the Eagles in net points by zero point 0.7, okay? Not
Okay.
by much.
So that's
However,
pretty much even.
in turnovers, we're minus zero point 0.4 and the Eagles are plus zero point 0.4. And as we know,
Ah,
when it's that close, the turnover differential can swing it. Man. However, I don't know if you know yet, but the question is whether Trent Williams will be back or not, and whether Ricky Pearsall is going to play. Two players who had not been there. We had a really, really rough outing against the Seahawks. And Benny, I'm watching that game, and I'm like, maybe we can get it together. But it just looks like they were just moving the ball on our defense. And then when our defense did something good, and we had them at what, 3rd and 19.
yeah.
And they handed the ball off for a run, basically capitulating. And he made the first, he ran 19 plus yards. I'm like, and it was funny because I'm looking at the Niners GM up in the booth, and he's like, so,
Yeah, so you guys do have an issue against the run.
and the
And
pass.
run pass, I don't care what. You got a big issue tackling, and that's not good. I've seen so many missed tackles, guys not wrapping up, guys bouncing off, guys getting juked. It's kind of ugly. I don't know about Trent. Says here that Pearsall did not practice today. Um, he does have a PCL sprain in his right knee, so his status is still uncertain. He may be a game time decision, so we'll have to wait and see on that. But they can live without Pearsall. It's going to be tough living without Trent Williams because that's a weakness that the Eagles are definitely going to go after. And you know the Eagles' defensive line. But anyway, let's talk about last week. See how we set this thing up. So the Niners are visiting. They are the 6th seed. Um, before the game last week started. Oh, by the way, before the game last week started, I was going to say something else, but I remember I sent you a text. Now the text was kind of short. Probably read something like the Niners need to get the ball to McCaffrey out in the edges and force the Seahawks to cover him downfield. So I kept it real short like that. But what I actually meant was they got to get him the ball on the outside. They need to run the ball outside, not so much over the tackles. They need to throw the ball to him in the flats, and they need to line him up in the slot and out wide and force somebody to cover this guy downfield. Not only did they not do that, but Christian McCaffrey, who is undoubtedly, in my opinion, the best player on their team, only touched the ball 14 total times in that game.
Wow. Wow.
This guy averaged 24 touches per game this season. 24 touches per game. Derrick Henry can only dream about 24 touches per game. And little Christian McCaffrey averaged 24 touches, and they only got him the ball 14 times. As far as I'm concerned, that was their demise. It was far from Shanahan's finest hour. I got to tell you that.
Yeah,
And the
yeah.
team that didn't, here's another thing, they didn't attempt a punt in December. That's domination. They didn't attempt a punt for the whole month of December, but in this game, they punted 5 times. 3 of them were 3-and-outs, and they turned it over on downs twice. And Purdy threw a pick. And they got slaughtered in time of possession. Not good. Not good at all. This is not the way you want to go into the playoffs. Oh God. And I like the Niners so much. So now we've talked about teams that had nothing to play for, teams that had a lot to play for, teams that played hard to get a certain seed, teams that didn't care about getting a certain seed. Oh, we didn't talk about that yet? Let's talk about that right now. Eagles coach Nick Sirianni chose to rest the majority of his starters rather than going all out after the 2 seed. he felt that even if they didn't beat the Commanders, they would simply accept being the 3 seed. And he said as much in his press conferences, not exactly that way, but he pretty much let everybody know that. So, of course, the Commanders, who remembered the late game 2 point conversion that the Eagles went for a couple weeks ago in their last regular season game, that 2 point conversion also triggered an on field brawl. And then it also had Dan Quinn in his post game interview say, "Oh, they want to play that way? Guess what? We'll play them. We play them again." So it wasn't the last game; it was the next to the last game, and then this was the last game. So again, maybe Nick Sirianni said, "Oh, they might go out and try to hurt somebody. Maybe we shouldn't play our starters." I don't know, but they didn't, and the backups couldn't handle it, and they lost 24-17. It didn't help that Philly also had some questionable calls on offense. But hey, what the heck? That's been an issue all season long. So, you know, this is crazy. I know people going to say I'm crazy, but I believe the 49ers are going to right the ship. The Eagles are going to trip over their own feet, and the 49ers are going to win this game. I'm going against the bias, going with the nine. All the Eagles' woes are going to all combine, and they're going to be out
Fall flat on their face, eh?
flat on their face.
Well, I'd love to see it. I'll be quite honest, you know. So,
I know you would.
I mean, we have superstars too. They've got superstars, and we
That's
have
right.
superstars. We know our deficiencies, and like you said, you know, when you know your deficiencies, then that's where the coaching comes in. You know, this is where,
Exactly.
you know, you got to do the things, you
And the
know.
Niners have shown me that they know how to learn from their mistakes. The Eagles have not.
Mm. Well, Benny, I'm gonna leave it alone at that. I mean, I can't ask for much more in terms of that. And like you said, you know, it turned on turnover differential. We were actually just a little bit better on the net points.
Right.
So there you go. Ben is going against the bias and going with my beloved 49ers. Get them. All right. Who's next? Ooh, this is gonna be a game, Benny. Chargers
Could be.
and Patriots. Bias plus 8.8 favors the Patriots, Benny. That's because they rank third in net points at plus 10, and those Chargers 14th at plus 1.6. Yeah,
Mm,
nice differential there. Nice
8 points.
differential.
That's a nice differential. Yeah.
Harbaugh might have some thoughts in the back of his head about how his brother just got canned.
That
Maybe
ain't going to help him.
he
I don't think he has any chance of getting canned, but he better really bang on Herbert's pads like he does before the game extra hard and let him know, bro, we got to get this done today. And it's going to basically be on him. Um, so let's talk about the Chargers first. They are the visitors. They are the 7 seed with no chance of winning the AFC West and locked into the 7 seed. Yes, they were locked into the 7 seed. I just wanted to make sure of that the Chargers actually rested several of their starters, almost everybody, but they were playing the Broncos. And the Broncos had to make sure that they won the 1 seed. They were right in position to win the 1 seed. They had to get the win. So of course they played all their starters. They didn't mess around, and consequently, the Chargers went out without much of a fight. Score was 19-3. Broncos did what they had to do. They didn't kill them, but they did what they had to do, and they made sure that they got the number 1 seed. That's guaranteed home field advantage. Nothing much good to say about this one for the Chargers, but I will take the opportunity to rag on my favorite whipping boy, Trey Lance. He was horrible. 20 of 44, bro.
20 or
20 of
44.
44. Are you kidding me? And he threw a pick. And he had a fumble. Oh my God. Oh, my stomach's getting upset. Anyway, Anyway, Patriots at home. Let's talk about a good team here. With the AFC East title locked up, but the 2 seed not secured, again, the Eagles didn't seem to care about the 2 seed, but the Patriots definitely did. They did the opposite of the Eagles, and they pretty much went all out in their 38-10 win over Miami, a team they probably could have beat with you and me starting to make sure that they got the 2 seed. Job well done by them. Mike Vrabel ain't joking around here. He means business. This is going to be a big time Patriots win. I think the Chargers are going to put up a fight, but I believe the Patriots defense is way too good for them.
Yeah, yeah, I'm with you there, Benny. I mean, and I'm just Ramondre Stevens is just amazes me, things that he does and the speed and the power he runs with. So yeah, I like the Patriots. I like the Patriots. All right, going with the bias, going with the Patriots. All right, Benny, who's up?
Last one, Monday night.
Monday Night Football. Now this might be the actual last Monday night game. So
I
what?
believe this will be.
There we go. Texans at Steelers. Bias plus score of 7. 1 touchdown and 1 extra point made. Favors the Texans. Because you don't know about these extra points anymore.
Yeah, it's getting rough.
That game, man, I can't believe that Steelers game. I'm gonna let you go ahead and talk about it, man.
Okay, so the Texans are the 5 seed. They are the visitors. With the AFC South title still in their sights last week, they started everybody knowing that if they won the game and Jacksonville lost, they would get it done and win their division, putting them at least in the 4 seed. Of course, during the game, they were also scoreboard watching. And when they saw that the Jags were up big on the Titans, they decided, oh, well, so much for that. And they let all the starters sit out the second half. Even still, their backups came in the second half. They got the win over the Colts, and they locked up the 5 seed. So good job by them. Now, as far as the Steelers are concerned, let me start by paraphrasing a bit, paraphrasing some things that I heard some Steelers players say, and also Mike Tomlin when they were talking about Aaron Rodgers, some before the game, some after the game. And some of the quotes were, "This is why he's here. This is why we brought him here. These are the situations that he thrives in." This is exactly why they wanted Aaron Rodgers for games like this. This game had 6 lead changes. Baltimore and Pittsburgh are big time division rivals. They try to kill each other every time they play over the last few seasons and again this season. Baltimore had a last chance at the win, but rookie kicker Tyler Lute missed a 44-yarder as time expired, giving the Steelers the 26-24 win. Now, speaking of Aaron Rodgers, he had 0 turnovers. He threw for a season high, picked the right time to have a season high,
Yeah,
294 yards, and the winning score on a pass to Calvin Austin with 55 seconds left to play. Now, that did leave time for Baltimore to try the field goal, but the kicker missed the kick. And in his defense, I think he was like 33 out of 35 for the season. So it's not like, he was in trouble or he wasn't kicking well. He just missed the kick,
just
man.
missed the kick.
He just missed the kick. And that's the way the ball bounces. Now, I cracked up when I heard this one. And again, I'm not quoting directly, but one in Tomlin's post-game interview, one of the guys asked him if he wanted to give his opinion of the thin line between winning and losing on a field goal, and if he makes it, and if he doesn't make it, and if this happens, if that happens. And he said, if my aunt had male parts, she'd be my uncle. I love that guy. Tomlinism.
Yeah, yeah, you could write a book of those. You could write a book of those for
And I
sure.
and I know what the guy was going for when he said, talk about the thin line, because one of his other ones is there's a thin line between drinking wine and squashing grapes,
Yes.
right?
Remember that. I remember that for sure.
Oh man. So now this one scares me a little bit. This one scares me a little bit because I've seen some things with the Steelers that make me start thinking they got a little destiny hanging over them. But the Texans are playing so well, and their defense is top notch. However, DK Metcalf will be back for this game, and Aaron's been playing pretty good without it. Oh, geez. Oh, I'm going to go with the bias. I'm going with the Texans. One, two, three. So, of the 6 games, I picked 3 road teams.
Wow.
I found
Wow.
that interesting. I just noticed that. Yeah, I've got 3 road teams going: the Rams, the Niners, and the Texans. Those are, and 2 of those 3 games, I went with the bias. So we're together on those.
Okay. Okay.
That Niners game is the
I tell you, I tell you.
that's the tricky one. But we'll see, man. It's the playoffs, bro. I'm
Yep.
excited.
I was telling somebody last time the Niners were here and I went to the game, wasn't expecting to win, but by the near the end of the game, Eagles fans were leaving the stadium. Eagles
Hmm.
would take,
I remember that.
yeah, they were leaving the stadium. So, and let me tell you something. Again, you and I, for our picks last week, 56%. That's
Hmm.
about where it's at, Benny. Parity is
Yeah.
just, it's built into the league here, you know?
Yep.
And then when you have these special circumstances like a week 18, whether some guys will play and some guys won't play and all of that. And of course, your bias plus is based on your numbers that you've accumulated during the season. So you really aren't taking into account some of those changes, you know what I mean? But that's
Right.
just how it works in football nowadays. So all right. Wild card weekend. Texans at Steelers. Bias +7 favors the Texans. And Ben is going with
The
that's it,
Texans.
Benny. Going with the bias, going with the Texans. For sure, for sure. All right. Short week of football. We have one last piece of business that we always have to take care of. And that is the bias plus buster of the week for the final week, week 18, Benny.
Wait, don't tell me. Don't tell me. Uh, I can't figure it out. Go ahead. Who is it?
It's
Oh,
the
you got it right there.
Washington
Commanders. I didn't even look at the screen.
Oh no, I can't figure this one out.
The Commanders. There you go. I said it.
You said it. Oh, my season is complete. My season is now complete. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, those Washington Commanders. The Commanders. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. I was going to take a quick look here, man. I just want to share this real quick. This is this is the chart. The,
Okay.
the chart. So we got Denver up here. They get to pick the winner. Pittsburgh and Houston, Jacksonville and Buffalo, and New England and the Chargers. The winner of those two will meet up. Seattle gets the bye, so they'll see either Carolina or the Rams. And the NFC East, and again, just like on the AFC side, you got Philly and San Fran, Chicago, and Green Bay. So this is the chart. Now, Benny, this is one thing I did say about that Eagles game. I mean, if
Hmm.
you're thinking about it though, so they draw my Niners at home. Really, who that's left, especially in the NFC, but who that's left should the Eagles be scared of? I mean, that to me, it was like whether they rest their people or play their people, there's really nobody they should be scared of. What do you think?
I kind of think they'd rather play y'all than play the Rams.
Well, that might be true. That may
Yeah,
be true.
yeah. I think when he decided to the only major starter that I really, because I didn't look at the whole game, but I saw Devontae Smith started the game, and I believe some of the starting linemen started. I wasn't paying attention who started on defense and who didn't, but I think he was thinking to himself, you know what? If we don't win this game, it won't be terrible because we'll probably get the Niners, and I really don't want to play the Rams. And I know the fans will say, "Oh, we own the Rams. We beat them all the time." Well, yeah, you beat them all the time, or the last few times, but it's been touch and go in all those games, and you can only touch and go so many times. You played them a lot over the last two seasons, and to me, that's not a good thing going into this week. But luckily, you didn't get the Rams. You got the 49ers. You should win. I don't think you will. That's just me.
Hey, there you go. There you go. All right, Benny, that wraps up Ben and Barry on football for what is this, January 7th, 2026. Please remember to push the notification button and uh, ring the notification bell and push the follow button and follow us at www.benandbarryonfootball.com. All right, peace out.
Peace.